In Deadlock's Fight Night, there were 3 matches played in total in the EU region. The matches were played over the course of 2 series. First, the Challenger match best of 1, Abrahams versus Murlocs, where Abrahams absolutely stomped them. Abrahams went on to face Virtus Pro in the finals best of 3, and they lost 2-0 to VP. Although the matches were a little closer, I would say VP came out looking decisively the better team. In this video, I want to showcase one build per game from each winning team. Now, I chose what I thought were some of the higher impact heroes in these games, and we're going to watch these games and go over all the item timings as they were bought. For the heroes that were played twice, and there was some variation in the builds, I cross-referenced what they built in each game, and you can find the builds in-game by searching these build names. I also linked the builds in the description as images. First up, we have Together's Gun Shiv Snowball. This is a game where Together absolutely dominated on Shiv. He went 19-9, did the highest hero damage on his team by far, and ended up ending the game in a nice and quick 21 minutes. And he did this while building 0 Spirit. He actually ended the game with 0 Spirit. After the latest patch, this has become a trend where a lot of builds decide to spec into either gun or Spirit. Before, you had to build at least a few of each type of item, and Shivs were going these hybrid builds. This build just all ends on gun and vitality items. But there are still hybrid builds between gun and Spirit that we are gonna get to later. Okay, so we got Together on Shiv here, and he's laning with Tass on Paradox versus Meow and Colt on Holiday and Yamato. He skills Knife first, then puts 2 levels into Dash. He's playing pretty aggressively with his knives and Dash, and his items are Headshot Booster for the early Harass into Extra Region and Resto Shot for the Sustain. After this, they're winning this lane pretty hard, and he ends up saving all of his souls for a Headhunter rush. Headhunter just seems like a really strong item right now. Shiv likes the healing, it's obviously a bit easier to get headshots on shotgun heroes, and the extra headshot damage is amped by your rage. As for his ability points, as mentioned, he puts 2 levels into Dash, and now he begins maxing his ult. He gets Backstabber for chasing people down and applying that bleed damage, and Fortitude so he can stay on the map, rack up those kills, and keep that rage up. Finally, after this, he gets enough points to max that ult. It now applies a reset on kill, so he can just run around the map, always be full health with Fortitude, rely on his gun to get them low, and finish them off with his ult with 0 downtime in between. For the power of this Shiv build is once you max your ult, you basically don't have cooldowns. After this, he gets Healbane, a classic Shiv item. Then Opening Rounds, which is great for getting people low, and Spirit Lifesteal. Now, even though he is a gun build, Shiv spells are pretty good baseline. He actually puts 1 level into passive and then maxes Dagger after that, which deal decent damage even without any Spirit items, hence the Spirit Lifesteal. He does get Bullet Lifesteal right after though, into Healing Booster for even more Lifesteal as well as more percentage healing from Headhunter. Now at this stage, he's pretty far ahead. He's dealing a lot of damage, and as he ends up dying here for the first time in the game, he gets Leech for just 3.2k, since he already bought 2 of the components, and he picks up an extra stam with the remaining souls. He only dies 1 more time after this, so he gets Spirit Armor, and at this point he's basically unkillable. So he ends up stunning on them a bit in the last fight, and the game ends here. Now this game ended pretty quick, and had it gone any longer, I think he might have gotten another big green item, probably like Colossus, maybe Frenzy, Unstoppable, or a crippling headshot for damage. Against some comps, you might slot in Debuff Remover if they have Decays or, say, Infernus. These are just some suggestions. Game 2. This is the first game of the VP versus Abrahams finals. We are going to be spectating Lystic's Spellslinger Lash, as I like to call it, but the core of the build here isn't Spellslinger, it's Mercurial Magnum, as he only ended up going Spellslinger in 1 of the games. Game 3, he went Capacitor instead. All the, variations I put in the build. The skill build here is going to be 2 levels into Flog into 1 point Grapple. Then he maxes the Flog, puts another point into Grapple to get that cast range and weapon damage, 2 points ult for the throw distance and cooldown, and then back to maxing Grapple, because he wants that 20% fire rate. Finally, he gets the ult stun, so basically, all in all, he doesn't put any points into Slam until the end. Now let's start the laning phase here. We will focus on the items. Lystic identifies that this might be a tough lane, and he is correct. correct, so he gets monster rounds, healing nova, and extra health. They end up losing the lane and their tower, so Lystic is roaming pretty quick in this game. The build really starts when he gets this Quicksilver reload and imbue it into his Flog. This is a good strat because Flog heals you for the damage it does, and Quicksilver adds flat spirit damage to the imbued spell, and you get that reload obviously. After this, he gets some standard spirit damage stuff in Mystic Burst and Enchanter's Emblem for survivability. At this point, he's having an okay game, right? He's pretty active on the map, and the game is even. He ends up getting a pretty late extra stamina, especially for a Lash, as well as superior cooldown for more ults, more flogs, and so on. After this, he doesn't buy anything for a while and actually saves up like 7k souls so he can get Mercurial Magnum and spends the rest on Tank Buster. Now this seems to be the core of the build. Mercurial Magnum is a new item. It's an upgrade from Quicksilver that gives you spirit damage on your bullets when you reload. So whenever he flogs, he reloads and shoots them with all that extra spirit damage. He's also proccing Tank Buster with his flog since his slam isn't leveled up. So this game he didn't buy extra charge early, unlike game 3, but here he does end up going for the straight rapid recharge, and it upgrades his extra stam into stamina mastery. So yeah, VP has been ahead for a bit here, and Lystic just gets Spell Slinger for that last fight. They already got Rejuve here, so you swing around the fight, he's shooting them and diving. VP is very ahead, coupled with the Rejuve, and there's nothing Abrahams can do here. Game 1 goes to VP. For Game 3, we are covering what is currently the highest win rate and pick rate hero in high MMR, as well as low MMR, just everywhere. Wraith. We got none other than Zergy on the Wraith. This is the second game he's playing it versus Abrahams. And I'll quickly cover the skill build first. He first puts 2 levels into cards to get some early damage on lane. 1 point ult, 2 points into full auto, again prioritizing damage and farm speed. Gets the level 2 ult for extra duration, 1 point into his teleport for the extra cast range. Into maxing his full auto, he then gets level 2 for the barrier. Again into max ult, which makes it bounce to 1 more target. Into max teleport for minus cooldown. He gets the extra card build up last, basically. Anyways, it's in the build. For lane, Zergy picks up these next items in order: monster rounds, rapid rounds, extra charge into extended magazine, which he then promptly upgrades into Titanic magazine. And when he gets that gold, he upgrades the rapid rounds into Swift Striker. Zergy does a lot of farming in this game, as well as precise map movements that grant him kills and souls. This makes him very rich at every stage of the game. So a lot of the time he is buying multiple items at once, like in 10 minutes when he buys extra health plus opening rounds plus Quicksilver reload. Opening round seems like a hot item in general right now. 40% weapon damage versus enemies that are above 50% health feels like a lot for just 1600 souls. Buying all these items at once is obviously a big power spike in the game, and Zergy of course is aware of this, scoring a solo kill against the enemy 7 just half a minute later. And after all these small items, he rushes Mercurial Magnum first item. Same idea as Lystic's Lash from last game. However, this item offers way more damage on Wraith. He can kill any hero on the map in 1 ult now. In 40 minutes, case in point, he absolutely destroys this Infernus that Lash throws into him. However, he does go down to Holiday plus Calico here, since, he only has 1 tier 1 health item at this stage of the game. He buys Improved Spirit right after, and around 4 minutes later, when he gets the souls, he upgrades straight into Boundless Spirit and buys Bold Lifesteal with his remaining souls. Safe to say, he's very fucking strong right now. So strong that he 1v2'd this Infernus and Kelvin inside Kelvin's dome. Now, he is under his walker here, so he gets some damage resistance, but this is definitely not normal. The souls he gets from that engagement he spends on Burst Fire. He then upgrades his extra health and Bold Lifesteal into Fury, Trance, and Fortitude, giving him an extra 400 health. He also picks up 2 situational buys in the form of Counterspell and Debuff Remover. The Counterspell is for parrying Holiday Lasso and Sinclair's Bunny, and Debuff Remover is very good for Infernus's Burn and the slowing Hexkybot, as well as 7 stun. And if you were to miss his parry versus Holiday or Sinclair, it would reduce the stun a bit. Useful since they both bought Duration Extender. And lastly, he buys Plated Armor, which is particularly solid versus Infernus and 7, since they both have on-hit effects. Again, doubling down on his survivability since he already has the damage. VP is very ahead here, so they just take the Rejuve uncontested, and Wraith absolutely shreds Abraham's base. Game over. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed this kind of video. I personally find stuff like this useful for learning new ways to play my heroes, and these builds don't include very many items. They are streamlined, they are just what these pros build in their games. A lot of the items in this game are situational, and I believe these limited builds can help you, especially if you are new to a hero, and we're all pretty new to this new item system. I personally don't like builds that just throw the whole shop in there, like, you know, here, just buy all of the fucking items, you know? For learning, it can be great to just have a small item pool. A lot of these items synergize with each other. And also, we went over all the timings. It really matters when you get these items, and you know your power spikes, knowing when your build is online, when you take fights, solo kill people, and so on. So again, thanks for watching, and have a good one.